Fellow Ambazonians, as we stand on the threshold of a new year, my heart overflows with gratitude and admiration for the resilience, courage, and unwavering dedication of our people. I bring you warm greetings and solidarity from the interim government and all those who continue to champion the cause of our liberation. Let me begin by extending heartfelt thanks to every individual and family and community that has sacrificed time, resources, and effort to sustain this struggle this far. To those who have stood steadfast in their support, whether through financial contributions, advocacy, or personal sacrifices, you are the lifeblood of our movement. You are the last men and women standing, as we say. Your unwavering commitment has been a beacon of hope, illuminating the path towards our freedom. But let me also address those among us who, for various reasons, have hesitated to fully support this noble cause. Some point to concerns about mismanagement. Others question the winnability of this war, and some have been hurt by the actions of certain individuals within our ranks. Others still, citing the lack of unity among leaders or demanding to see more progress, have withheld their contributions. To all of you, I say this with the deepest respect and a sense of urgency. These reasons, though understandable, are not sufficient to justify inaction in the face of our collective struggle for survival and freedom. As we approach October 2025, let's be reminded it will mark 9 long years since a small group of hastily assembled freedom fighters stood up to a trained and well-funded army of La République du Cameroon. For nearly a decade, our courageous restoration fighters have defied all odds, holding the line against an annexationist regime that seeks to crush our dreams of self-determination. Yet, it marvels me when some still claim they do not see progress or that this war cannot be won. Let us reflect on this. How has untrained, under-equipped, and largely unsupported fighters managed to hold one of Africa's most brutal regimes at bay for nearly 9 years? This alone is a demonstration to the indomitable spirit of Ambazonians and the righteousness of our cause. When I spoke recently to someone who wondered why the Bamilekis in La République du Cameroon, despite their wealth and their influence, are not fighting for their rights, I explained to her the painful truth. The last time Bamilekis fought, they lost. They lost, and the consequences were catastrophic. Today, they prioritize protecting their investments, their wealth, fearing a devastating repercussions of another failed fight. This is the harsh reality of defeat, and it should serve as a stark warning to us. If we give up now, thinking we can revisit this struggle in the future, we risk not just losing the war, but losing the very identity of Ambazonia. La République du Cameroon unleashed unimaginable brutality upon us, as they did to the Bamilekis, leaving no room for any resurgence. The time for Ambazonia is therefore now or never. To those who say the war isn't winnable, consider this. Cameroon's economy is crumbling under the weight of this conflict. Inflation is taking its toll, and their resources are stretched thin by the exorbitant cost of maintaining this war. How much longer can they sustain this? Their struggle is our progress. Every day that we resist is a step closer to victory. To those who decry mismanagement or the kidnappings and ransom takings by rogue elements on ground zero, let me acknowledge that these are indeed painful realities. However, these are not unique to our struggle. They are unfortunate byproducts of war. We must confront these challenges head on. But they cannot be reasons, ladies and gentlemen, to abandon support for our cause. The stakes are too high. To those who lament the lack of unity among our leaders, I remind you that no single struggle in history has ever achieved 100% unity. The American Revolution, the South African anti-apartheid movement, none, and I mean zero of these were without internal divisions. What matters is that we use our discernment to support the leaders and groups we believe have the vision and capacity to lead us to victory, and they are doing the right thing. Unity is an ideal we strive to achieve, but it should never be a precondition for support and action. As we step into the new year, I am pleased to share that significant efforts, ladies and gentlemen, are underway to address some of these concerns. The Consultative Commission, a critical mass of Ambazonian stakeholders and leaders, is working tirelessly to forge a more unified front. This commission has received overwhelming international endorsement from our international partners, who recognize it as a viable platform for advancing our struggle and resolving this conflict. In 2025, we aim to solidify this alliance further. Plans are already in motion for a leadership summit in a month's time, followed by an all-Ambazonia International Summit. These gatherings will serve as opportunities to consolidate our strategies, strengthen our alliances, and present a united front to the world. For those who have hesitated to support due to perceived disunity, I urge you to see these developments as evidence of our commitment to addressing this issue. And to every Ambazonian listening to me today, whether at home or abroad, this is my plea to you. Let us not allow our grievances, our doubts or frustrations to paralyze a just cause. Let us not allow the actions of a few to define our collective struggle. This is a fight for our very existence, for the future of our children and generations yet unborn. I beg those who have withheld their financial support to please reconsider. Look at how far we have come. Look at the cracks in the armor of La République du Cameroon. Their desperation is evident in their escalating brutality, their failing economy, and their inability to quash our resistance. This is progress, and it has been achieved through the sacrifices of many. Imagine how much more we could achieve if all Ambazonians, especially those in the diaspora, come on board with financial support. Let us also remember that wars are not won on the battlefield alone. They are won in the hearts and minds of the people. They are won through resilience. They are won through perseverance, and the unyielding belief in a cause greater than oneself. The time for Ambazonia is now. There will be no second chance if we miss this one. As we step into this crucial year 2025, let us do so with a spirit of unwavering determination. For this year promises to be the most critical of all the years we have traversed in our just cause. The winds of change are sweeping across the global political landscape, presenting us with a once-in-a-generation window of opportunity to advance the cause of Ambazonia's freedom and sovereignty. We must, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians, seize these opportunities with both hands or risk seeing them slip away, perhaps forever. Change is on the horizon in La République du Cameroon in 2025. The signs are clear. Their current political status quo is unsustainable. The oppressive regime led by a gerontocratic leadership detached from the realities of its people is faltering under the weight of its own corruption and suppression. This brewing transition is not just a moment of internal reckoning for La République du Cameroon. It is an opening for us, the resilient people of Ambazonia, to strike decisive blows in our quest for liberation. Transitions breed uncertainty, and uncertainty in our oppressors' camp is our advantage. It creates gaps in their focus and fractures their resolve. This is why it is imperative for us to amplify our restoration fighters' actions on the ground by doing more recruitment and funding. Each strike, each operation, and each bold act of resistance destabilizes the already fragile foundation of the regime in Yaoundé. It forces them to expand resources, lose credibility, and erode their control over our homeland. We must ensure that their transition is not one of continuity, but one that paves the way for our ultimate emancipation. On the global stage, the recent change in leadership in the United States of America provides us with an unparalleled opportunity window. For the first time in years, we have a leader in the most powerful nation on earth who has expressed sympathy before for the plight of oppressed peoples and who crucially believes in our cause. This alignment is a rare blessing, one that we cannot afford to squander. The United States holds enormous sway, ladies and gentlemen, over international affairs. Their recognition or even tacit support can be the tipping point in our struggle. But support is never given freely. It must be earned through diplomacy, advocacy, and action. This is why our diplomatic efforts must be stepped up to unprecedented levels. We need to work tirelessly with lobbyists, engage policymakers, and ensure that Ambazonia's struggle remains at the forefront of international discussions. Every Ambazonian in the diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, must see themselves as an ambassador, a voice for the voiceless, back at home. Diplomacy alone, however, will not suffice. It must be reinforced by action on the ground. The international community is moved, not by words alone, but by the reality of our struggle. When our restoration fighters demonstrate resilience, strategy, and commitment, they send a powerful message to the world that Ambazonia is a nation determined to be free. Their actions create the urgency that propels diplomatic efforts forward. Without action, ground action, ladies and gentlemen, diplomacy risks becoming a hollow exercise. This is why I am calling for a two-pronged approach that is both strategic and urgent. On the one hand, we must triple our restoration fighters in every county and local government area. On the other hand, we must rally Ambazonians around the globe to provide the financial resources necessary to sustain both our fighters and our diplomatic initiatives. To achieve the critical mass needed for effective resistance, we must prioritize recruitment. If your county or local government area has no fighters or only a few, now is the time to do so, to act. Launch a recruitment drive immediately. We need young men and women who understand the stakes, who are ready to stand as defenders of their land, of their people, and their future. We need new generals and commanders to emerge, leaders who can inspire and organize our forces at a local level, ensuring that every inch of Ambazonia is covered by a vigilant and determined resistance. Recruitment, ARF recruitment, is not just about numbers. It is about building a force that embodies the spirit of Ambazonian resilience. Our fighters must be equipped, trained, and motivated. They must understand that their actions today are shaping the destiny of generations to come. Let every Ambazonian family see this as their contribution to history. Let every village and town recognize that their liberation begins with their own efforts. Fellow Ambazonians, none of this can happen without resources. It is a hard truth that wars are not won on ideals alone, but on the ability to sustain the fight. This is why I am making an urgent appeal to all Ambazonians today, whether you are well-to-do or can only offer your widow's mite, to step forward and contribute. Contribute. The time for hesitancy is over. The time for action is now. I urge you to please get to ambazoniadues.com and please make your contributions. Every bullet, every piece of equipment, every meal for a restoration fighter, and every diplomatic mission depends on our contributions. If we let this window of opportunity close, the time between now and when the transition in La Republic du Cameroon takes place, without achieving our goal, history will judge us harshly. The sacrifices made by our martyrs and the suffering endured by our own people demand that we rise to this moment. Let us honor their sacrifices by ensuring that no fighter goes without support and that no diplomatic opportunity goes unfunded. The urgency of this moment cannot be overstated. The brewing transition in La Republique du Cameroon and the favorable leadership in the United States are aligning like stars in our favor. But these opportunities are fleeting. If we fail to act decisively, we may find ourselves looking back with regret, wondering what might have happened, what might have been. Let us not be the generation that hesitated and lost. Let us be the generation that acted and won. Now, my appeal to the Norwegian authorities. Injustice, when left unchecked, corrodes the very foundations of justice systems that claim to uphold fairness, equality, and the rule of law. For over 2 years, several Ambazonian citizens residing in the United States have faced indictment and await trial. Their cases have languished without hearing, leaving them in legal limbo. Similarly, the arrest and prolonged detention of Dr. Cho Ayaba by the Norwegian authorities since October on allegations of crimes against humanity raises profound concerns about adherence to international legal norms and the principles of justice. Western nations, including Norway, have long positioned themselves as global champions of justice, often lecturing others on the imperative of swift trials and due process. Yet, Norway's handling of Dr. Ayaba's case betrays these principles. Over 90 days have passed since his arrest, yet the courts in Norway have failed to either bring formal charges against him or present credible evidence justifying his continued detention. This silence not only undermines the credibility of the Norwegian justice system, but also sets a troubling precedent for the selective application of legal standards in Norway. If there is evidence substantiating the arrest of Dr. Ayaba, the Norwegian authorities have a legal and moral obligation to present it without delay and proceed with a fair and transparent trial. To indefinitely detain an individual without charge or trial constitutes a flagrant violation of internationally recognized legal standards, including the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Norway is a party. Article 9 of the ICCPR explicitly guarantees that no individual shall be subjected to arbitrary detention and mandates the right to a prompt trial or release. It is difficult to escape the conclusion that Dr. Ayaba's detention reflects a double standard. Had he been a Norwegian citizen, would he still be subjected to this prolonged incarceration without due process? Such unequal treatment calls into question the impartiality of the Norwegian judicial system and raises suspicions of political motivations behind his arrest. The interim government of Ambazonia, on behalf of its people, demands that Norway either immediately release Dr. Ayaba or swiftly initiate a transparent trial based on any credible evidence it claims to possess. Failure to do so risks Norway being complicit in what could be perceived as a politically motivated hit job orchestrated at the behest of external actors, notably the regime in La République du Cameroon. Fellow Ambazonians, let us commit with renewed vigor to the mission that lies ahead of us. We are determined here to spend the months ahead rigorously strategizing and seizing every window of opportunity that comes our way. I wish every group and leader would think this way. This is not the time for fragmented pursuits or isolated efforts. We will move forward together as one united people, guided by a singular purpose, the liberation of Ambazonia. Gone are the days when factions believe they could win this war all on their own. Those illusions must be abandoned. This is the moment when every group and leader must silence their chants of self-promotion and step into the greater good that is unity. It is a time for all factions and leaders, stakeholders to join the consultative commission where every voice can contribute to the collective strength of our struggle. Let it be known that this is the moment for action, not empty expertise. I realize that far too many in this our crusade have positioned themselves as critics and commentators. They are quick to tell us how the struggle should be organized. Yet, absent when their financial or material support is needed most. To those who demand more action on the ground, I say this: your demands are valid, but they require resources. If you want sustained action, then start funding it. If you want ABS to operate without interruption, then step up and ensure its survival. This struggle does not thrive on words alone. It thrives on sacrifice and commitment. The reality we face is stark. In this critical phase, we have more experts than we have financial supporters. Let me make this very clear. It is not expertise alone that wins battles. It is action backed by resources. Do you want the interim government to act in a certain way, to do things in a certain way? Then come out and be counted. Let your voice and ideas be part of the collective vision. Do you think your ideas are the solution? Join forces with us in the interim government and let your contributions pave the way for success. Please put to rest the notion that the interim government must dissolve for your function, for you to function. That is a misguided and destructive idea. This interim government is the backbone of our struggle. It is what gives our prisoners hope, what keeps our fighters in the bush courageous, and it is what reminds us all that Ambazonians' liberation is not a distant dream but an achievable reality. Let me address those whispering voices, those that resemble the agents of La République du Cameroon, those who think that the better way is the dissolution of some groups. We refuse to entertain defeatist narratives. Instead, we stand resolute, knowing that the future belongs to those who persevere with faith and unity. To our valiant restoration fighters, the pride of Ambazonia, I salute you. You are the shield of our people and the sword of our liberation. To those who laid down their lives for this struggle in 2024, we will never forget about you or repay you, but we honor your memory with profound gratitude. Your sacrifices are not in vain. They are the fuel that keeps us fighting and pushing forward. We pray that God blesses the fighters still in the bush, defending our homeland with unmatched bravery. May the Almighty protect and deliver you from every assault of La République du Cameroon. May He grant you courage, resilience, and the unyielding spirit to carry on until victory is secured. And to the civilians on ground zero, your resilience inspires us all. You have endured hardship with grace and stand firm in the face of oppression. Freedom, as history teaches us, is never cheap, nor is it easily won. But remember how far we have come and how faithful God has been to the oppressed throughout history. The Lord, according to the group book, is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit, says the psalmist. Hold on to this promise, ladies and gentlemen. Persevere just a little longer and add prayers to your endurance. Victory is closer than it appears. And when it comes, it will be because of your unwavering faith and determination. To the Ambazonian diaspora, you are the unsung heroes of this struggle. Your financial support, your advocacy, and your belief in the cause have kept the flame of hope burning brightly. Again, you are the proverbial last man standing, the diehards who refuse to give up, even when the odds seem insurmountable. You are the minority who will save Ambazonia. I urge you not to grow weary in supporting the cause. This is the critical window of opportunity we've prayed for, and it requires every ounce of your dedication and generosity. Let us pray that this year, 2025, God's hand will rest mightily upon every Ambazonian. May He protect us all, provide for us, and make our faces to shine with hope and determination. May He prosper our efforts and deliver La République du Cameroon into our hands. In the words of the prophet Isaiah, and I quote, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you." We claim this promise for Ambazonia in this 2025 in Jesus' name. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Short live the struggle. Together, united and resolute, we march forward to victory.